So, hello everyone. Welcome to yet another session of Women of Code Session Summit 2022. In this session, we will be hosting Umar Masud, who is research intern at IISc as well as research intern at IIT A. He will share some insights and opportunities over the field of research. With his experience in image processing, machine learning, and deep learning, Umar has hand-on practice in various image-related tasks in computer vision as well. He has massive contribution in field of research and development. So, without further delay, let's welcome Umar Masood on the space.
Yeah, thank you,
Hi,
Sujit.
how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for such a warm welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah,
So, how are you?
I'm good, and I'm very excited to be on this platform and sharing my knowledge with other students.
Yeah, we are excited to know about this too. So, how has been your life in post-COVID period?
Like, it's a double-edged sword, honestly. So, for
Yeah,
for education purposes and internships, like we have got a lot of time and we can work on what we are interested in. So that's a plus point. And yeah,
yeah, I do agree. So, so let's please present your presentation over here.
okay. Um, is it visible?
Yeah, it is as well.
Okay, cool. So can I start with this? Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Please start.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So today I will be talking about how to get started with research from my personal experience. I'll talk about how to begin with learning the basic concepts, making projects, and then how can you go on to finding a research professor for your mentorship, and then how do you crack internships and get research projects at top IITs and triple ITs and even abroad. So I will be speaking about basically how to get started with research and without any prior, so that anybody in any domain can be using this approach to get a good research experience. So I'll start with the first fundamental thing, that is to build a strong foundation of concepts. So the first important thing is to have a good coding and programming skills that you can learn specific to your domain. For that matter, I will suggest you that you take standard courses. For example, you have multiple courses on YouTube available as free. If you just search, for example, machine learning for uh, spring 2022, and that will give you a list of courses by different universities and labs, which the professors have uploaded the lectures online, and that can give you a very in-depth knowledge about the topic right from beginning to advanced level concepts. So that is one thing which is very useful. Apart from that, obviously Coursera and Udemy are always there to learn. Then we have NPTEL. NPTEL lectures are both available on their platform as well as on YouTube playlist. So you can use them. For example, I have given you a link over here also that you can see later. That course is actually about machine learning by Mitesh Thapra sir. And what I would suggest personally is that you make good notes of these topics you study online. Because what will happen, like let's say later on you have an interview within 2 3 days for a research internship or project, whatever. So there you will be asked to have a good in-depth knowledge of the theoretical concepts as well as good programming skills. So for that matter, at that time, you won't be going on Google and searching top 100 interview questions or something like that. At that time, only the level of notes that you have made and how regular you have been while revising them is what gonna help you later on. So my personal tip would be to make good notes from them. And yeah, so the aim over here is to be good in both theoretical as well as programming skills. So after you have begin with a good course and a good level of programming skills, you can then go on to projects. So this is the second most important thing that a beginner should have in his profile. Before you have any internship experience, what can speak about your technical skills and your research inclination is your projects. So I would highly recommend you to make projects in your own domain of interest that showcases both your coding skills and your research aptitude. So, for example, paper implementations. Paper implementations are a very good way to do this. What you can do is go and reproduce quality papers and achieve their original results. And you can then make this your own project. Apart from that, also try to make unique projects. Don't go online and just search on blogs that, okay, stock market prediction and this and that. That will, okay, it's okay for a beginner who is learning, but if you are going for an application in a research project or an internship, you will require much more than that. So, for example, I have given a link over here, which is the semester project of CMU students, Carly Mennel University students. You can go on these videos, you can check them out, how they think, how they code, and how they finally present their work of a research project. So that's something you can definitely do. We also have triple IT and IIT students. They also make these semester projects. That is also something very helpful. You can take help from there. See how they make reports. See how they make their code available online. What is their approach to make a research project? So let me be clear that research project and a research publication is different. In a research project, what you are trying to show is that, okay, you found a problem, you tried to work on that, and you got some results. It necessarily doesn't have to be better than the other methods or other state of the art methods that are there. That is about project. You are just showing that you are solving a problem in a new way. In a publication, you obviously have to have novel ideas and as well as good results which have improved the previous work. So that is the difference between a project and a publication. Apart from that, I will highly suggest you to make your code available on GitHub. This will make your work visible and as well as it will help you later on where you will be like showing your technical skills, and documenting them is as important as making them because a good documented project will always be better than some random code which is just pushed onto the GitHub. That is not going to work. Make it in a way that someone else can also be using the your repository and using your code to get value from it. So that's what you should keep in mind while you are making projects for uh, research area. The next thing that comes is what exactly do we do in a research publication. So first of all, the first thing is to have a literature study. We read a lot of papers, we find the approaches, the latest work that is being done, what is the state of the art result, and most importantly, the shortcomings. The shortcomings are where we will find the gaps to provide solutions later on. So this will help us formulate novel ideas where we will work on those gaps that we have found. So mostly, I will show you in the next slide where we can find the shortcomings in a research paper. And then what we do is that we have some novel ideas, we have some new implementations of ways through which we can improve our results. We run experiments and we try them out. We perform ablation studies and show that our method is robust and generalizable and obviously better than the previous work. Finally, we present our findings in the form of a paper. I will show you in the next slide, and then a submission is made. So this is like the whole pipeline of a research work. We first formulate a problem statement, we find the shortcomings in a idea, then we formulate novel ideas that can improve that thing, we do experiments, and then we get results. We present that in a form of a paper, and then we finally make a submission. A good research work would usually require at least 6 months or more to achieve results. What I mean by good research work is that you are publishing in a top tier conference. Okay, obviously people do much do it in much less time, like 1 2 months also, but that's not the quality paper would look like. So that's how a research publication works. Here you can, I'm showing you the general format of a research paper. So in a research paper, we have the first thing is the title. The second thing is the abstract. The abstract contains the main crux of the paper. What have you done and what results have you got? So it's a one paragraph and it is the main crux of the paper. Then we have an introduction section. An introduction section, you briefly describe the problem statement, what is exactly the problem statement, and how you are solving it in a new way. Then we have the related work. Related work is something that you have already done, as I showed you previously, the literature study, where you mention the previous work and how they are solving the problem. So you will list all of those over there. Then comes the proposed technique. That is a new section where you will explain what novel idea you have brought into the paper. And then we will have the implementation details. How are you implementing the proposed technique and experiments? Then we have the results and discussions. There you explain the results that you have got. You explain why the results of your study has been the way that it has, and then how is it different from others. Then we have the conclusion and the future work. So it basically summarizes what you have done and how the paper has added some value into this research problem. And then we have references, which is nothing but the papers, all the papers that you have mentioned in your paper, you give a citation to them. And then what I was telling you before, that you can find shortcomings in the paper by reading other papers. So where do you find shortcomings? It is often mentioned in the conclusion and the future work. So let's suppose you have a paper which has mentioned that in future we will like to work on, let's say, from image datasets to video datasets as well. So you can find ideas over there. Okay, so this paper has restricted itself to image datasets. Now I can work and extend this thing to video datasets as well. So from there you find the gaps and the shortcomings that is present in the research problem right now. So this is the overall general format of a research paper. Now, where can you access and read these papers? So the best place that I find is the Semantic Scholar. It is a platform available on Google. You can just search it and you will find it. Apart from that, you have Google Scholar and Microsoft Academics. Both are very good, but Semantic Scholar is what I prefer. Another important thing now, this is something a hack of a thing, which is Sci-Hub. What will happen is that most of the papers will be behind a paywall or inaccessible because of a user login and account, something like that. So Sci-Hub is something that you can use to hack that paywall. It is a very popular tool which all the researchers use. So if you are going into research, you will be requiring this tool a lot. My personal tip over here is that while you are reading papers or you are trying to learn topics from papers, always pick the top tier conference papers. For example, I have listed NeurIPS, AAAI, EMNLP, CVPR, ICCV, and etc. So you can always use these conference papers, as these are the best ones in the field and they present the best quality papers. For imagine just like working in a Google and working in a local company that you found through internship. So you know the difference, right? That's how you should also see over here, that you should always pick the top quality papers and not be any local journal or anything. So that's always what your professors and supervisors will always advise you. So the next important thing that we come up to is how to get research internships. So this is where the most of the students are interested in actually. So many opportunities are there both in academia as well as in industry. If I talk about industry, there are many openings in companies like Nvidia, Adobe, Microsoft. where they are specifically hiring interns for research-based projects. Here, the focus will be on your research profile, although DSA and coding rounds are still a must. From my personal experience, I have talked to people who are interning at NVIDIA as an applied research intern. So their selection process comprised of uh, the research topic that they are going to work in. That was an interview about the topic that they will work in depth. So they didn't ask about the DSA and the coding rounds. Although it is very advisable to be good in DSA and coding rounds because in industry any job would require that, be it in research side or in the software development side. Apart from that, in academia, we obviously know we have so many opportunities under each university, professors, and labs. So, beginning, we have a number of dedicated programs which are in summers or winters, depending upon it. By we have some um, Indian universities like IITs, triple ITs, IASCs, etc. have research internships program. For example, there is Spark program. Then there is from triple IT Allahabad also that, and so a number of opportunities are there in Indian universities. Also, another popular thing that have been coming up lately is international opportunities in research. The MITEX program in Canada, the Dardwise scholarship in Germany, the Viterbi School IUSSTF scholarship, all those are international research opportunities that you can do in summers. So I have provided a link over here which will give you a comprehensive list of all the opportunities which are available in the form of a dedicated program like summers, 2 months, 3 months, that way. Another important way to get research internships is through directly approaching the professors and the labs through cold emailing and messaging. So this is something that will yield you a number of opportunities throughout the year. It is not just limited to summers or winters, but throughout the year. However, I would suggest that if you are beginning in research and you don't have any experience, the best thing to be is to start working with your college faculty. That can be a very good stepping stone in your experience of research so that you can use it to in your applications later on. So your college faculty obviously know you better. They will be easier to work with, and for first experience it is always good to have your college faculty on your back. Another important thing that I will say that later on in applications to other programs and universities, you might need a letter of recommendation. So if you have a prior experience with research with your college faculty, that will be a very good because they can then recommend you over there. So the best thing to do is to start with your college faculty and then go on to other programs and opportunities. So the important thing next after finding out about opportunities and labs and professors is to how do you cold email them, like how do you find a professor, how do you approach that professor to get some work. So first I'll be explaining how to write a cold email to professor. So I have given you a general format which you can use to have your email, the cold email written. So first example, you have to explain yourself in one line. What is your name? What is your year of study? What is your college and city? City because like if you are applying to international professors, it is advisable to write city. And then in one line, what is the purpose of the email? Like, I wish to join your lab as an intern. So this is your first introduction line. After that comes the second paragraph where you particularly state what work of the professor have you found fascinating. You can mention 2 or 3 papers, give links to that, what the professor has done, any projects that the professor has or ongoing projects that you see, mention them in the second paragraph. Then in the third paragraph comes the relevant background of yours, where you will explain that, okay, the things that I have said in second paragraph are relevant to my experience and how can I contribute in that. So here you will explain what experience you have, what research projects or internships or publications you have done. So you can explain and write in brief about that in the third paragraph. Apart from that, in the next paragraph, you will have to explain exactly how do you plan to do this internship. Like, why do you want to join this particular professor? Why do you want to join this particular lab? So this is how this is where you're gonna explain it, how it will benefit you. Will be the next paragraph. And then in the last, these are just 2 3 lines of information where you say what is your intended time period of commitment, what will be your starting date, for example, in summers or in spring or whatever. And after that, you say, like, I have attached my CV, transcripts, and a letter of motivation, which is optional. And then you have the salutation. So this can be the general format of a cold email that you are writing to professors. Again, for cold messaging on LinkedIn and Twitter, you can just take the same approach that I have explained above and just shorten it, make it more precise and make it a more crisp. So, for example, you can only give one link in the message. So it can be your portfolio website or your CV. Another important thing is that don't message professors, always email them. Messaging only works with someone young, like a PhD student or some graduate student in the lab. That is where you can message them, but don't message the professor. Another personal tip from my experience would be try to contact young or new professors because they're more likely to respond instead of those like little old or seasoned professors. Young professors are likely to respond to your emails or messages. So the next important thing is how to find the contacts of these professors. How do we find their labs and all? So for that, you can go onto the website of the university, go to the faculty list. There you will find the individual web pages of the professors. These are like websites, individual portfolio websites. On web pages of professors can be one of the most important things that you need to be doing uh, if you are into research. So those web pages will tell you a lot about the professor, his publications, his labs web page. Many professors have their own labs, so that will also give you the link to that. And his contact will be also there, so you can find his email and all over there. Often, many opportunities are listed on the web pages itself. So the professor would have listed that, okay, I am looking for interns or graduate students or so and so for this time period. You can find that. The second most important thing are the labs web pages. There also you have the mentions of the members, the publications, the contacts, and there will also be some at some places openings and vacancies tab. So you can go over there and check that. For example, in my own experience, I had gone on to the lab of IISc, and then I found there a opening and vacancy tab and I applied there, and that's how I got the internship. So this can be a very important aspect if you are looking for research opportunities and labs. Okay, so some advice that I will give from my personal experience is that be on constant lookout for opportunities. Like, stalk the professors, see their web pages, see their labs, and bookmark any opportunity that you come across. For example, I had bookmarked my application for IASC around September, October, but I was busy at that time, so I applied later in January, and that's when I got the internship project. So always save whatever you are looking on. And cold messaging young PhD students can also help sometimes, but it is not the advisable way to do it. But yeah, you can obviously try that. Obviously, one tip that I will give you is that try Indian PhD students in foreign universities. So they are often on the lookout to help young undergrads. So you can find some over there. The next thing you will face in this process is that getting no responses or rejections while you are cold emailing people. So this is a normal thing to be done because the professors are often loaded with a lot of emails, so they can't reply you or reject you in a way. But don't be disheartened, like, keep trying. For my own experience, I have till date applied to more than like 100 plus professors both in India and abroad, and I have got responses from merely 10 to 15 professors, and which were positive like 4 to 5 positives. So you just have to keep trying. There's no limit to what one can say that okay, this many professors will work or this many. Just keep trying until you get successful. That's it. Another important thing would be to be patient with your research project. Often it will take you around a lot of time. I'm saying at least 6 months or more for a good research project. And many times you will not get the desired results. You will not get new ideas. Your implementations won't work. But don't worry or don't lose hope. Talk to your mentor and he will guide you for the best. As I have already mentioned, good research takes ample time. And after that, the last thing I will tell you is that make sure you clarify beforehand that your contribution will be recognized and your name will be included as a co-author in the publication if you are going to be. I have seen experiences where people work as interns, they provide all their uh, efforts and they work for that lab or the professor, and later on that intern is not even given a name in the paper, so that is very unfortunate. So be aware of that. Always make sure you clarify beforehand that your contribution will be recognized. So that's the whole uh, idea that I wanted to share with you all about research and how you can get a research experience. I hope this helped you in forming an idea about whether you want to go into research or what exactly do we do in research and how we can be successful in a research domain. So I hope this has helped you. So that's it from my side. If you have any doubts, any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And also, I can be, yeah. Sujit, are you there?
Okay. Yes, Umar. It was a great, like you shared the complete information regarding the research, but there are a few questions which I would like to take, Umar.
Yeah,
One of
sure.
the participant actually had a question that how do we build our resume to be selected as a research intern?
Hmm. So, as I said, firstly, make a good understanding of the concepts that you are going, be it in any domain, machine learning, natural language processing, deep learning, or any domain of your choice. Be good in the theoretical and the coding skills. Make research oriented projects, as I said. If you are a beginner, you don't have any experience. We all never had any. We started with the projects. So projects can be one thing that you can use to show your skills and your research inclination. And what type of projects particularly, I have advised that go on to uh, pages of triple IT and IIT students and see how they make their semester projects, how they present their work, how to make a report on that. So that is a way to you can show your research side, and that can help you to make a good resume for a research intern.
Great. I hope the person who actually asked this question had clear his doubt because you have explained him correctly. We have another
Mhm.
question that has been asked by Minal Batra, that how to choose a relevant research topic, especially in the finance field.
Okay. So relevant research topics. So what you can do is go on, as I said, search for papers, read as many papers as you can. So you will get an idea of what all is happening in the finance field, what are methods are being applied. I have seen papers which are using natural language processing in the finance field, and so it's a lot of variety of subtopics in that field. So go read about them, try to make one or two projects, try to see the professors who are working in this field. You will find what publications they are doing, what their lab is publishing, and maybe talk to the members that are working under that professor. They can guide you more about what is going on into that field, and whether it will interest you or not, then you can decide for your own. So yeah.
Okay, fine. I hope that the doubt has been clear to the Minal Batra. And we
Hmm.
have another question that does our project be unique? Like
Hmm.
this is the question, like everybody has this question in their mind,
Hmm.
like how my project and my research would be unique.
Yeah. So that is something we all obviously fear, of course, because in the beginning we don't know a lot of things we just go on to the Google, we search the blogs, we make like best 40 projects under this and this topic. We try to make that. So that's okay, that's fine. And but don't, when you're applying to good research opportunities, don't mention that which has already been used. Use that to learn, but don't mention it. For making unique projects, as I had said that, go on to the pages of international students and see what semester projects they are making. They are particularly picking up some research problems and trying to solve it in a better way. And it is usually like, it might take 1 or 2 months, but it will be a very good project. Another thing to make unique projects is to pick research papers and implement them. A lot of papers don't have their own code available on GitHub. What you can do is reproduce them. You can count that as your own project, and that can be a unique thing to do because we have a lot of research papers. You can pick any of your interest and you implement them. That is a unique project for you.
Okay,
So I
great.
hope that is the answer.
Today we are having a like this session. We are having lot many questions. Okay, we are having another question with you. What would be the main focus while doing a research? Like it's an easy one that you have even
Mm,
encountered in the complete presentation. But yeah,
yeah. So the main focus while doing a research, so it can be many things, I would say. You want to learn about that topic. So a research about a particular problem will give you in-depth knowledge about that topic. That is something very useful. You will obviously add side by side learn about the coding skills. That is also gonna be enhanced. So main focus on while doing a research is something that you should have answered before starting the research. I mean, why are you going into a research field? If you have answered that, then I guess you already know your main focus while doing a research.
fine.
Yeah.
A unique question coming up. Like in there, is there any way that where we can publish our own paper? So you
Hmm.
have to answer this
Yeah.
as well.
Exactly. So I have seen people who have like, it's a group of 3 or 4 friends and they just worked on a problem, and they didn't have any professor or a supervisor to mentor them, but they went on with the problem. They find a solution. They made a paper and they submitted it. So it is not necessary that you have to have a professor or a mentor, someone like that, to get your paper published. You can obviously publish your own paper. I personally don't have experience with publishing it myself, but you can find people and talk to them, and they will guide you more about how you can do it on your own.
We are having another question. Actually, this was my question as well when I was also
Yeah.
listening this complete session. That what would be
Hmm.
a small roadmap to become a researcher, like a roadmap to become a researcher?
Yeah. So, like, if I just say it in a crux, so in-depth knowledge of concepts, you have to be like passionate about what you're learning. The next thing would be to have research-oriented projects. Moving on from that, you can have internships. As I mentioned, you can begin with your college faculty. Apart from that, you can go on with universities like IITs, triple IITs. You also have a lot of international opportunities nowadays. Many foreign professors take interns because we have remote work, so you can utilize all of your time, and the professors are also open to remote internships. So that way you can build your profile, you can have some publications. After publications, then basically that's how you can get into research, and after graduation might you might go for a master's with research or even a PhD. So that's the whole uh, learning process that you can take.
Yeah, and we have another question by Krishna Gupta that
Yeah.
is there any job opportunity also in the research, and if it is there, then how they can pursue to it?
Yeah. So as I had mentioned, the job opportunities are there in research field, in industry as well. I had mentioned like companies like Nvidia, Adobe, Microsoft. They all have a research-based internship as well. So particularly, I would say to look out for Nvidia because I have seen a lot of people getting into applied research intern at Nvidia. So their selection process also, as I mentioned, is something different. It might not only focus on your DSA and coding rounds, it will also focus on your in-depth knowledge about the domain you are applying to and the overall research profile of yours. So that is something you can always obviously take up. And apart from that, most of the research opportunities in this in industry are actually given to more graduate and PhD level students. So for that matter, you have to have a long journey of research, but internships are also there for undergraduates in industry.
Okay, Umar. So give you a feedback that few people are even giving a feedback that it was a great learning, sir. And there's
Okay.
a question coming up which you'd also like to take up, that how can we get connected to you? So you can either
Okay.
drop your LinkedIn account
Yeah.
here or email to let other people whosoever is watching it, they can reach out to you as well.
Okay, fine. So like, um, where can I type my?
You can
Is
just
there a way to?
post directly in the YouTube, or either we can give you in the end.
Okay.
Like no worries.
Okay, cool. So I'll just tell you, like, my name is Umar Masud. If you search it on Google, you'll find it. You'll get my LinkedIn. I have my personal portfolio website as well. You can go on to that as well. So LinkedIn will be a preferred choice, I guess. You can connect with me there, and I will be happy to answer all your doubts if you have any, or I can guide you for whatever wants you have. So yeah, I guess LinkedIn, if you search my name, you will find it very easily.
Great, great. They will sure. And
Yeah.
there another question coming, that is master required for the researcher?
Okay, so as I said, like what you see in big companies like research scientist at Google, research scientist at Facebook, or research principal researcher at NVIDIA or something like that. For that, I will have to say that you have to go through masters or even a PhD. So that is something you have to do if you have to be a researcher. Like you cannot just get in a job into a researcher profile right after graduation. That is something little difficult in industry. But yeah, I would say masters is a good choice if you have to go into the research field.
Okay, I believe that we are coming to the end to the question. There's an actually last question coming up. Then we would wrap
Yeah.
this session. Yeah. The last question is that what can be considered as good profile for the research job and internship opportunities?
Hmm. So a good profile will obviously have so if I say like research experience, previous research experience, obviously publications, if you have any, that can also make a very good impact. Apart from that, if you are just a beginner, you won't have these many experience or publications. What you can show is your research projects that you have made yourself. That is something that can speak about you. So if I say research projects, write a report along with your research project. Report written in latex will prove will like kind of show that you are oriented towards the research domain and you want to work in that. So that can give you a good profile for research jobs and internship opportunities.
Still the questions are coming same, like
Yeah.
sir, can we get connected in LinkedIn or WhatsApp as well? And I want to pursue research
Hmm.
fellowship. That's great. And even this complete opportunity that the Learn for Cause team is giving in the terms of open source and research, this is the fellowship opportunity that we are also providing. So on the behalf of team cause, I would also let you know that we are also having women of code fellowship program, which is given to the 250 female applicants in the field of open source research and development. Applicants, like there is an still we are having the registration open on till 16th February. You will find in the YouTube description box. You can just fill up the form and you can come to the research fellowship as well.
Hmm.
Okay, so
That is a
there's an
wonderful initiative by Learn for Cause. All of you, please look into it and you can get a lot of help from there.
another question, like, is MA degree important to become a researcher?
Uh, MA degree. So, I had said, like if you want to be a researcher in a top company like Facebook, Google, Nvidia, all of them have at least a PhD. So, as I said, going into a researcher profile job right from your undergraduate is a little difficult in industry. You have to have some graduate level studies for that as well.
Okay, Sahil Jhunjhunwala is asking, sir, last question. So please type your last question. What is your last question? We are waiting for that.
And yeah, I can just answer to Anuradha Kumari. Yeah, you can please connect me on LinkedIn, and we can have a chat over there. So I'll be happy to solve all your doubts over there.
Okay, so this was the last question that he was having. Sir, what is your thoughts when it's come to the research as industry?
Hmm. So honestly, I'm very fascinated by the opportunities of research in industry. For example, I have seen so many papers from Google, Facebook, Nvidia, OpenAI, DeepMind. All of these companies are doing wonderful work. So there is a lot of potential in industry level research, and so yeah, I'm personally very inclined towards a research based profile in our industry. So yeah, that is a very exciting thing.
Yeah, and Umar, I made your work easy, and for the people who are also watching this complete session, I will be
Yeah,
dropping your LinkedIn ID in the end for these people. Like either you can drop it, or either I will be dropping it soon.
cool.
Anyways,
Yeah,
it was a great session. I hope the questions that came, they were very nice, and you also enjoyed the session, Umar, by
yeah,
giving the participants answer. And
yeah,
I can say that it was helpful session for all of them. Thank you joining with us, Umar, and thank you all the
yeah,
participants also joining us. Once again, if you want to reach him out, you can just search in LinkedIn Umar Masud. You can join with him, and you can get your all those doubt clear about the roadmap
yeah,
of research and all.
yeah.
And the registration are still open for the fellowship program as well for the Learn for Cause team. Umar, would you like to have a view on that? Like you know about the complete initiative.
Yeah. So that is, I have seen for the first time, like some community level organization is giving so much opportunity, so much fellowships for female students specifically. So please do look into it. It can be very helpful for you, and it is something that you can also write about in your like CV and all, that you have been granted or you have been the winner of such a fellowship. That can be also very helpful for you. So do look out into it. And this whole initiative, this whole event of Women of Code has been very well organized and very informative for students. So I highly recommend them and the whole community of Learn for Cause.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you, joining for the session.
Yeah,
And thanks, Umar. We are ending this broadcast. Meet you in another session at 8 p.m. with Gunjan Paneri as well. And yes, we have dropped the LinkedIn ID of Umar Mashood. You can just get
yeah,
connected with him. It's here.
yeah,
Fine. Anyone ask? Anyone have any other question? We are ending this broadcast. Hope so. Bye bye.
yeah. Thank you, everyone.